What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Sean O'Malley and the Emma Guru recently gave their takes on Henry Cejudo's current situation, suggesting that the former double champ might be having financial issues and is possibly looking for one more big fight before finally calling it a career. During the discussion, Sean mentioned that he heard from a close source that Henry could be struggling with money, and that might be the real reason behind his sudden desire to fight again. According to Sean, producer Garrett also chimed in during the podcast, jokingly saying that Henry is claiming retirement for what feels like the 16th time. He added that it's become a bit of a pattern for Cejudo to announce he's done, only to come back asking for another fight shortly after. Sean responded, saying that he personally believes Henry might be nearly bankrupt. He laughed, saying, "He's like, UFC, give me a fight, please." Though Sean didn't reveal his source, he made it clear that it came from someone close to the situation. The MMA guru agreed that Henry has made a habit out of teasing retirement to create hype or draw attention, but it doesn't seem to be working anymore. He's done it a few times now, Guru said. He tries to make people care, but the interest just doesn't stick. It kind of falls flat. He added that Cejudo has attempted various tactics to stay relevant, from the controversial eye poke comments to his exaggerated retirement announcements, but none of it seems to generate the buzz it once did. Sean pointed out that Cejudo's biggest mistake was stepping away from the sport when he did. If he stayed champion when he should have, Sean said, he could have picked up a lot more legacy, a lot more respect. Instead, Henry walked away at a time when his momentum was high, and since then, the division has moved on quickly without him. Fighters like Merab are now steamrolling through opponents, creating their own legacies and pushing Cejudo further out of the spotlight. The tone throughout the discussion was a mix of humor and genuine criticism. Both Sean and Guru seem to think Henry's retirement talk has become more of a gimmick than a serious statement. Sean emphasized that if Henry truly wants to come back, it should be for the love of competition, not because of financial desperation. Still, with the bantamweight division filled with rising stars and fresh contenders, it's unclear where Cejudo would even fit in now. For many fans, this feels like a familiar story. A former champion chasing one last run, hoping to reclaim glory or secure a big payday before stepping away for good. But according to Sean and Guru, unless Henry makes a real impact inside the cage again, these repeated retirements and comebacks are doing more harm than good. Whether the financial rumors are true or not, it's clear that Cejudo's once powerful brand has lost some of its shine, and only a strong comeback performance can change that. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Dustin Poirier admits that retirement has been a lot harder than he expected. In a recent interview with MMAfighting.com, Dustin opened up about the emotional struggle he's been facing since stepping away from the sport. He said that he thought walking away would bring him relief, a sense of peace, and a new beginning. But instead, it's been a tougher adjustment than he ever imagined. Dustin explained that for the past 20 years, he's lived every single day with a fighter's mindset, waking up with a fire inside him, constantly trying to improve, get in better shape, learn new techniques, and find ways to evolve. It wasn't just about the fights, it was about the lifestyle, the grind, and the purpose that came with being a professional fighter. He said, "I thought it would be a relief when I finally put the gloves down and I didn't have that weight on my back, but it kind of hasn't been that way yet. Maybe I'm still processing it. Maybe it'll just take more time than I expected." He talked about how strange it feels to wake up without that goal driving him forward every day. "When you've done something this long and dedicated your life to it," Dustin said, "it becomes a part of who you are. And then one day you wake up and it's just not there. The fire is still inside me, but knowing that I won't get to do this again, that's the hardest part." He added that any time he's ever lost in his career, he's always managed to come back, to fix things, to rewrite his story. But now he knows that chapter is closed. "I don't get to right the ship anymore," he said. "I don't get to put my hands in the air again. I miss it more than I thought I would." Dustin admitted that he's been trying to stay busy, keeping his mind occupied to avoid sitting around thinking too much. But he confessed that the days feel long when he's not training, sparring, or doing road work. "It's a way of life," he said. "It's not just a sport I competed in. It's how I live my life, and I'm still trying to process that." He also mentioned how his wife and family have made it clear that they don't want him to continue fighting, especially after how his last bout went. "That final fight," he said, "was premeditated and planned as a proper send-off. We had time to set things up, show clips of my career, moments people might have forgotten from when I was younger," Dustin explained. "It was special, a perfect way to close that chapter." Reflecting on that moment, Dustin said it felt complete, like everything had come full circle. "How could I ever do that again?" he asked. "It was such a perfect send-off. I'd be doing myself a disservice by coming back." Still, he didn't completely shut the door. "Never say never," he added, "but it would take the perfect set of circumstances for me to ever put the gloves back on and fight again." Moving on to another news, Henry Cejudo has reacted to his upcoming fight against Payton Talbott, a matchup that caught many fans by surprise. Some observers were expecting Cejudo's next bout to be against a big name, or at least a top 15 contender, especially since he has been hinting that this might be his final appearance inside the octagon. However, the UFC went in a different direction, pairing the 38-year-old former double champ with the 27-year-old rising talent Payton Talbott at UFC 323, scheduled for December 6th. During a recent episode of the Pound for Pound show, Cejudo shared his thoughts on the matchup and explained why he's completely fine with the fight. He said he's not bothered by facing someone younger or less experienced because, to him, this represents the old generation versus the new. "I'm fighting somebody that I know," Cejudo said. "Somebody that actually came out to learn from me. I'm fighting Payton Talbott, and it's definitely a contrast of bodies and styles. Payton is a zombie. He'll come at you non-stop. He's based on pressure, and I'm fighting a new school guy." The former bantamweight and flyweight champion continued, "This is the type of matchup that makes sense for me. The UFC wants to push Payton, and I get it. He's a really talented fighter. I said this from the beginning. He did lose to Hani Barcelos, but he came back strong in his next fight. He was able to get that win, and he looked really good doing it. He's a dangerous guy, no doubt about it." Cejudo also spoke about the difference that experience brings into the fight game. "Payton has a lot of physical tools," he said, "but experience and tactics change everything. That's where I feel I'll have the edge. You can't teach fight IQ overnight. I've been in there with the best in the world, and that experience matters. Payton's dangerous, but I've seen it all before." Although Cejudo has been vocal about this being his final fight, he hinted during the podcast that his retirement plans aren't set in stone. He admitted that he could change his mind depending on how things go. For now, though, he's focused on December 6th, where he'll step into the cage against a hungry young contender eager to make his name off a legend. Moving on to another news, Umar Nurmagomedov recently gave his honest thoughts on Patchy Mix and his recent performances since joining the UFC. Patchy made his octagon debut at UFC 316, where he lost to Mario Bautista via unanimous decision, and then suffered another tough defeat by split decision to Jakub Vaquat at UFC 320. According to Umar, Patchy hasn't looked like the same fighter fans remember from his earlier days, and might actually be on the decline in his career. Umar explained his point, saying that no fighter can stay in the same position forever. "Brother, no one person can be in the same position always," he said. "You either go down or you grow up. Nobody stays the same all the time. You have to work hard and keep growing. Otherwise, you go down." He continued, "What I see with Patchy Mix right now, I see how he's going down. Maybe he's not training as hard as before. Maybe he's missing that fire inside for fighting." Umar mentioned that Patchy hasn't shown the same level of sharpness or hunger that he once did. He referenced Patchy's past fights, saying that when he fought Tiger Magomed, he was still showing flashes of his old form. "In his fight with Tiger, it was very close," Umar said. "I even think Tiger deserved to win, but Patchy was still very good. After that, I don't know what happened. His performances just don't look the same." Despite his honest criticism, Umar made it clear that he respects Patchy Mix and didn't want to come off as if he was trash-talking. "I really respect this guy," he said. "It's better if I don't compare us as fighters because I know how hard this sport is. Patchy helped me a lot. Even when I was in Las Vegas, he came to help me train. I was surprised to see how he fought recently because I know he can do much better." Umar went on to praise Patchy's skills, acknowledging the dangerous tools he still has. "He has very hard punches, very good technical ground and pound, and his control when he takes the back is amazing," Umar said. "That's why I don't understand what's wrong right now. Maybe it's motivation, maybe something personal, but he's not looking like the same Patchy we all know." It's clear that Umar's comments weren't meant as disrespect, but rather concern for a fighter he genuinely admires. From his perspective, Patchy's recent struggles might not just be physical, but mental as well. Fighters go through ups and downs, and Umar believes this could simply be one of those moments where Patchy needs to rediscover his fire. Still, coming from someone like Umar, who's known for discipline and consistency, his observation carries weight. Whether Patchy can turn things around remains to be seen, but Umar's words highlight the reality that in MMA, you're either improving or you're falling behind. There's no standing still. Moving on to another news, Michael Venom Page recently shared his thoughts and prediction for the highly anticipated heavyweight clash between Tom Aspinall and Gane. The matchup has fans buzzing, and Page believes Aspinall represents the new wave of elite heavyweights set to dominate the division for years to come. Page started by acknowledging both fighters' talent, but made it clear that he's leaning towards Aspinall to get the job done. "I'm a fan of Gane as well," he said. "But for me, Tom Aspinall is the next generation of what we've seen from legends like Jon Jones. The way Jones came into the sport and completely changed how his division looked. I think Aspinall is about to do the same thing at heavyweight. He went on to explain that Aspinall brings something rare and refreshing to the division. That style at heavyweight is unseen, Page continued. He moves like a middleweight, he's sharp, he's fast, and he's got real knockout power. Cyril has a similar bounce in his movement, but I don't think he has the same kind of snap or power that Tom has. Aspinall's timing, explosiveness, and overall athleticism make him a serious problem for anyone standing across from him. Page also mentioned Aspinall's underrated ground game, saying it's one of the most overlooked aspects of his skill set. People forget how good he is on the ground, Page said. You probably won't see much of it in this fight because it'll likely stay standing, but make no mistake, Tom's grappling is top tier. In the end, Michael Venom Page predicted a statement victory for Aspinall. I feel like he could get a knockout in this fight, he said confidently. He's got all the tools, all the momentum, and the hunger to take over the division. Moving on to another news. RDR faces major backlash after being exposed for lying about his excuses following the fight. After quitting on the stool against Brendan Allen due to exhaustion, fans were left in shock. It was such an uncharacteristic performance from someone known for his composure, endurance, and elite grappling. But things got even more confusing after the fight when RDR went on Twitter claiming he'd been battling a virus and injuries throughout his camp. At first, many fans sympathized with him since he really didn't look like himself in there. However, that sympathy didn't last long. In a recent episode of Bisping and Felder's podcast, Felder dropped a major bombshell. He revealed that during the pre-fight fighter meetings, where athletes usually talk with the UFC commentary team about their camp, mindset, and health, RDR looked completely fine. There were no signs of illness, no mention of any injuries, nothing at all. Felder said he seemed healthy, confident, and ready to go. That revelation completely flipped the narrative. Instead of receiving support, RDR suddenly faced a huge wave of backlash from the MMA community, with many accusing him of lying to protect his image after quitting on the stool. RDR had tweeted that he was still furious about the loss, saying that a norovirus crushed him during fight week. But Felder wasn't having it. He explained that they'd spoken to RDR on Thursday during the fighter meetings, and there were absolutely no signs of sickness. He was completely fine, Felder said. Not sick. And if he was, I'd actually be upset that he was sitting right next to me during that meeting, shaking my hand with his wife beside him. Felder continued, saying, "Look, he had a bad night in the office. He got bested. That's it. It happens. No excuses." He also reminded everyone that RDR has been incredibly active this year, fighting 4 times against tough competition. 2 of those fights were main events, and 2 went all 5 rounds. The fight with Allen went deep into the 4th, nearly reaching the 5th round before RDR decided to call it off. Felder added, "We still love you, RDR. You've had a great run. Go take a break, rest up, and spend time with your family for a while." But then Felder left him with a piece of tough love. "Next time," he said, "work your ass off and do a lot more cardio. Don't skip that cardio, man. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you get tired, you're fucked. Simple as that." His words echoed what many fans had already been saying online, that no matter how skilled RDR is, endurance can make or break even the most talented fighters. What started as an emotional post-fight explanation quickly turned into controversy as fans and analysts questioned RDR's honesty. Many believe that blaming an illness after the fact only made things worse, creating doubt about his accountability. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. RDR's reputation took a hit, not just because he lost, but because of how he handled it afterward. Moving on to another news. Brendan Schaub isn't holding back on Tom Aspinall ahead of his massive showdown with Cyril Gane. Schaub believes Tom has to finish Gane in under 2 minutes if he really wants to silence all the critics. According to him, the Brit needs to do it faster and more impressively than Jon Jones ever did to prove he's the rightful king of the heavyweight division. Schaub's message was clear. The pressure is on Aspinall to not just win, but to dominate in spectacular fashion. Tom, however, seems calm and confident heading into the fight. He's been giving the Frenchman his respect, acknowledging Gane's elite movement, speed, and technical striking. Still, Aspinall makes it clear he believes he'll come out on top. He even admits that Gane has the kind of style that could drag him into deep waters, but Tom insists he's ready for anything that comes his way. He's worked hard for this moment, and the belief in his preparation and abilities is unshakable. Beyond the upcoming fight, Tom has also been dropping hints about a possible move to boxing somewhere down the line. Though he made sure to clarify that it's not something he's focusing on right now, he hasn't ruled out the idea completely. In his own words, "I never think too far in the future anyway. Maybe one day I'll do it if I take out the whole division. I've got some boxing experience, but I'm by no means a world-level boxer. If the opportunity comes down the line, I'll do it." Those words show that while Tom has ambitions beyond MMA, his current focus is crystal clear, defending his title and cementing his place as the best heavyweight in the world. All eyes are now on UFC 320, where Aspinall aims to make a massive statement and remind everyone why he's considered one of the most dangerous heavyweights on the planet. For many fans, this matchup against Gane feels like a defining moment. The chance for Tom to prove he's not just a temporary champion, but the man to truly carry the division forward. Schaub doubled down on his comments, explaining the kind of pressure Tom is under. Of course, dude, you're heavily favored. No. You've gotta win, but you've gotta do it more impressively than John Jones did, he said. This is the only opponent you both have in common, so now the public can compare the performances. John beat him in around 2 minutes, choked him out easily. So Tom not only has to beat Cyril Gane, who's an absolute French nightmare, but he has to do it faster and more impressively. Whether it's a knockout right away or taking him down immediately, it has to be under 2 minutes. Schaub admitted that it's a tough spot for Tom to be in. The expectations are sky high, and anything less than a dominant win will invite criticism. That's what Tom's dealing with, Schaub said. It sucks, but that's the reality of being at the top. Now, as fight week approaches, Tom Aspinall is carrying the weight of expectation, the hopes of UK fans, and the challenge of proving once again that he's the real heavyweight king.